listening to the Latina Leadership Podcast, the podcast made for Latinas by Latinas, with Angelica Cázares, Carolina Arenas, Diana Ruby, Jacqueline Villagomez, and Sonia Ramirez. Get comfortable, amiga, and enjoy the conversations.
Hola, and welcome to another episode of the Latina Leadership Podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Angelica Cázares. Ladies, do you want to introduce yourself before I introduce the topic?
Good morning. I'm Diana Ruby, one of the co-hosts of the Latina Leadership Podcast, and we're going to be reflecting on this past season. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Hola, hola. I'm Carolina Arenas, and let's just get to it.
Hola, I'm Sonia Ramirez. I'm also a co-host for this season.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Villagomez, and I'm also one of the co-hosts.
Nice. Thank you, ladies, so much for that introduction. Entonces, today on this episode, we had a lot of learning curves this season. So we want to tightly wrap this up season for you and have the interesting conversation as to what it was to have a podcast go from one host to 5 co-hosts. So in the conversation with that, let's talk. I'm going to open up the floor. I know this is the first time y'all were this is your first time co-hosting an actual podcast. This is the first time that I think I engulfed y'all into all of it, right? Into the production side of it, into the all of it. There was a lot happening. We do live podcasts, we do virtual podcasts, we do in-person podcasts, and then sometimes it's virtual where it's 2 co-hosts. I want to get your perspective on what it was for you to be part of a podcast.
So for me, I think I don't want to say the unprepared student, but the one that didn't do the homework and read the cliff notes and just showed up. That's who I was. Honestly, that's who I was. I think I didn't prepare. I read cliff notes and I just showed up and just a la loca, whatever happened. And it worked. It worked for this one, but I need to apply. I need to work better for the next season for sure. As far as doing my homework on who we're interviewing and learning the back end of everything that goes into, right? Like when you would set us up with the lights and the camera and linking into the, the StreamYard or whatever it is that you're using. So yeah, that's my little confession moment, guys. What about you? What about you, Diana?
For me, so I got to see a lot of the back end this season, which was really cool because I got to see there's a lot of moving pieces, right? And coordination to kind of make a full, complete episode. So that was really fun for me. And I think for me this season, maybe I took a little bit more of a back step or back, I don't know how to say that, but kind of on the back step. There we go.
Behind the scenes, you were definitely a lot of production. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would like to practice with more interviewing. I love watching y'all talk to other folks though. And I think we had some really, really awesome guests and just really cool stories.
No matter what's going on, when you start interviewing someone, it's you turn it on and you're just you have this natural gift for it. And I'm just I don't have that. I don't think I have that. But I think it was so much fun, but I think I'm still learning, I'm just still okay, let's see how this goes. Let's see what I'm good at, what I'm not good at.
I think for me, I was that little girl is me, pick me, because I've always wanted to do a podcast, and I've been talking about podcasts years before I even met all you beautiful ladies. So whenever, you said we're going to be a co-host, at first I thought, I was just finding guests. But when Angelica said, no, you're a co-host, I'm okay. And then I was yes, I can do this. And so I was excited, but then there was some, things that would pop up the setup, the production side. It's wait, okay, that I'm not too excited about. I need to learn more about that. So, but for me, it was just exciting. It was like an excited kid in a candy store, and it's I don't know where to go, but I want to try everything. So I really had fun, and we did. And we had some amazing guests. I'm so excited that we were able to get like the caliber of women that we got this year, and just so excited, to keep going forward.
I have to say that I very much enjoy Jo's conversation with other people. I took a backseat completely. Like I did like 25% of like some of the interviews. I took 25% of some of the, like the conversations, and I wanted to see where this was going to go. And I didn't want to I didn't want to impede too much on who you guys were as a personality. I was like, I don't want them to interview the way I do. I don't want them to be who I am. That's the last thing I need. Um, I have to say the remarkableness that happened from it, the uniqueness, the integrity that y'all brought, the spark, the oomph, the all of it that happened during the season. To witness you, Carolina, interview in person, I was like, holy shit, the homegirl has like a talent for this. Like I was like, she like can reverse conversations really quickly, pivot. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, okay. Like there was just so much. And I can talk a lot about each individually, like what y'all brought to the aspect of it. The patience that Diana brings, right? And Jacqueline, the cuteness that we needed on the podcast. Where you have this thing about you that you bring to it. And I'm like, I could just listen to her and watch her talk, honestly, in all honesty. And then of course my journalist, I keep calling you my journalist, Sonia, because I refuse to let you go. I keep telling people I have a journalist on my team.
You can say
Wow.
that. I'm
And
here
I'm
too.
like, wait, my journalist? And they're like, you have a journalist? I was like, yeah, I know, but she's my journalist. There's so much that y'all brought to the conversation that I would not have done it again in a different way. I know there was a lot that was happening on the back end. I know there was a lot of like moving pieces and particles, and you're like, I can't catch everything. But we tried, right? And that's all I wanted. And honestly, that's all I got. And so it's not for me. I just wanted to see it happen in that direction, in that way, without me intervening too much. I honestly, ladies, thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for bringing your qualities all in what it brought, and willing to learn with me. Pero I can get all mushy, and I'm not going to. I'm not doing that this time. Damn it. Okay. So I do have a question for you, ladies. And here, Diana and Jacqueline brought this conversation together because we want to learn from it, right? So, what did you learn about yourself, or perhaps something else during this season?
For me, like in one of the conversations that I had with Ana Arguello, I had in that moment of time, I was feeling some sort of way. I was going through this transition, and just kind of like personally and professionally. And so whenever you're in transition or like in a moment of change, there's like your confidence is still not all the way up there, right? Because you're learning and there's like new things happening. You don't have always like a clear path. But so I was asking her just kind of general questions or questions about how to, like she seemed like somebody that was really confident and like she was in her moment, she was in her groove. And so I was asking her about those things. And I think especially like where we were located, which is in Arkansas, sometimes there's difficulties of being Latina in those spaces. And so I talked about how like I love to wear big earrings. I'm actually not wearing any today, but I do like to wear big, kind of bold, bright, yeah, hoops, earrings. And I asked her about it, and she was like, "Girl, wear your earrings." And I was like, "Okay, you're right." But that was one of my highlights from this season, because it's true. Like you show up as you are, and I mean, if that makes you stand out, that makes you stand out. But I really just needed that reminder. And so that was one of my kind of like highlights that like I keep in my mind, like, girl, wear your earrings.
Where are your earrings? Where are you at? Where are you at? I have to say, it's hard. It's hard to be, well, in this line of work, and I'm sure for you ladies, even in traditional, like a work or corporate job where you like show up 9 to 5, I think, it's hard because one day you're feeling on top of the world and you're like, it's going good. And then it's not. And then you're humbly reminded, very humbly reminded. And people love to remind you. Holy shit, do they love to remind you how quickly it can be taken away from you. And so I feel like I honestly, Diana, you did amazing. That was your first interview. I think you did a really, really good job. There's nothing to be like said about it. I remember when I first started interviewing people, I would go on. I'm so stupid now. I wanted the conversation to go a certain way and it never did. And I was like, why are you not mad about this? Why are you not mad about getting paid the same way? Why? And they had 9 to 5 jobs. And I was like, why aren't you mad? You're not getting paid the same money. And they're like, I'm just grateful for my job. I was like, stop it. And so I wanted conversations to go a certain way and they never did. And I was like, okay, I can't press my agenda on people. I could just speak the facts and know what's what. The idea was never for this podcast to be like, let's start the evolution of the revolution that will be. And I was like, no, this is where the conversations begin. What happens outside of this podcast is what's going to happen. And if we believe collectively that we're aligned to that mission, then we will continue that conversation, right? But I wanted to be a rebel immediately from the beginning. And you ladies know I am. I'm a rebel because there's nothing else that I can be. I don't know how else to be anything different. But I wanted everybody to join me in that rebellion. And I was like, hold on. There's something to be said about this. But thank you, Diana. Ladies, any want to share something what you learned about yourself? Actually, I would like to go to individually.
I don't know if it learned, but I was reminded.
Okay.
I was reminded how much I enjoy talking to people that I don't know and asking questions. A quality that I know that some people might see as, oh, hey, she's nosy, or oh, she's very, persistent, or but that's just in my nature. And then again, it's also, I feel, part of like my background, right? Like the passion that I had with social work. So I was just reminded that I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. I don't know. But then again, like I was mentioning, there's things that I still need to learn as far as, what podcasting really is, so that I don't let down the people that are truly the experts in this field,
Okay.
because again, at the end of the day, podcasting, journalism, interviewing, that people go to school for that. And just because I'm saying, oh, I can do it, it doesn't mean that I'm the expert. So I need to learn more.
Caro, can I say though, like for example, the conversation you had with Steph from La Tropi Kitchen, like
Oh man, that was
that conversation, y'all. Oh my gosh, I was
wanted to
sitting
start
there like
crying. I wanted to
pressing
laugh.
the
I was
headphones
emotional,
in
like,
deeper to hear everything that was being said. It was such a great conversation, and like you, like we're asking those questions, and you were guiding that conversation. So definitely give yourself more credit, because I literally estaba así. Pressing the headphones against my ears to hear every single word that you guys were saying.
Nice. I gotta go listen to that one. There's some episodes that I haven't
me
listened to. Could we drop so many? I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit. So I was like, okay, I gotta go listen to. I've listened to like maybe half of them, and I was like, I gotta go listen to more of them.
no, we had an amazing list of, and
We
like,
did.
what is it? Women from different backgrounds, like
Oh,
career wise.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was good. It was good.
I like that. I like that there's a variety,
Yeah.
because you get different perspectives. Because like you get the people that are like in corporate have like different, you know, advice, versus like those that are just like, in the arts or in coffee, in coffee roasters. So it was really cool. And Sonia, man, you had
Sonia
so
was on
many
fire
great.
getting
I
people.
know. Oh my gosh.
There is a
Sonia, what did you learn? What did you learn about yourself, Sonia?
Gosh, I learned that it's okay to take a leap of faith. That if something excites you or if something you're passionate about, that go for it, because you don't want to look back and say, gosh, I should have done that, and not be scared, because I could have very well said, no, I'm not ready. I've never done a podcast, but, it's like you said, it's, it's your passion. Whatever, I feel like whatever you have a passion for, you should go for it. And because you might surprise yourself. You might enjoy it, or it might be something that you're good at, like you got. You said you didn't go to school, but I would never know, because you're a natural. And sometimes you don't need all that. You don't need to go to school to do something. I know that society puts that on us, and you have to have this degree to do this and this to be successful. But success is what you define, for yourself. And I think all of
No,
you
but what
are
I'm saying is I have
successful.
a degree. I went to school, but I didn't go to school, for instance, let's say
Yes.
journalism, right? So I don't want to be
Mhm.
like, hey, yeah, I'm a
Mhm.
journalist, all of us.
Yeah.
Google made me a journalist. Like, I want to respect the art. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Podcast journalism,
Yeah.
I take my hat off to you guys.
And yeah, I think that's another thing too. I had to realize that I am a journalist, and I don't have to be in traditional media to say I'm a journalist. I don't have to be at a TV station, a magazine, a radio station. If you're a journalist, you're always a journalist, and you take that wherever you go. And I think that was the biggest lesson for me to learn, is that when we went to interview Joyce Sewing I went with Juan, he interviewed her, and she said that one thing she doesn't like is when people say, I used to be a writer, I used to be a journalist. And she said, no, you are a journalist, you are a writer. And it's like, wow, you know what? She's right. I am a writer, I am a journalist. And just because I'm not in a traditional media company doesn't mean I can't say that about myself. Because I interviewed this artist one time, and I never forget that she said, nobody can take away your grounded accomplishments. And I agree. I may not be, out there, in front of the camera, or, in a TV station, but that doesn't mean I'm not just as talented, or I'm not just as good of a writer as everybody, these other people that are out there. I think that you just have to believe in your craft. You have to believe in yourself, and you just take that wherever you go, and give it your best. And that's what I hope. I hope that I've been able to do so far here.
That's so nicely put. Nicely way. I like that.
Yeah,
Nobody can
girl.
take away your grounded accomplishments.
Mic drop.
I know, dude. But like I said, in this field, especially when you're at the forefront and you tend to be like, people know you for that. Sometimes people like to ground you. They like to humble you.
Mhm.
And it's no shade on anybody else. It's like some people like to say things like, "Oh, anybody can do that," and it's like, yeah, but not everybody's doing it, right?
Mhm.
So
That's
let
right.
us let us let allow us to talk, allow us to lead if we can, if we know how. But with that being said, that's a nice segue. What, and I like this question actually, ladies. So thank you, Jacqueline and Diana. What are some reflections on leadership based on the conversations you had this season, or based on the fact that you were part of this podcast this season?
I have to say, like, it was really interesting to see like how every guest had a different perspective on leadership. And so I think it kind of like maybe like changed my perspective just a little bit. Um, in that leadership can look like different, it can look different for everyone. Um, because we can all be a leader in our life in one way or another, and it doesn't necessarily have to fit like this traditional path that that maybe um at least that I used to think of it as a leader has to be a certain way and have certain qualities and be, very like alpha. And, you don't have to be an alpha to be a leader. Sometimes a small voice can lead the pack, and I think that's something that I'm still learning. Um, and yeah, so I like that. A few people have also said it that um, when you're a leader, you influence people, and it's not just about demanding stuff or commanding stuff from people. Like it's like you motivate people and you inspire them to want to follow you. And I love that. And yeah, I hope I can do that one day in my life. Even if it's just my kids, inspire my kids, to not throw food all over the floor or something. I don't, I don't know.
Before you other ladies respond to that question, I want to say this, that in leadership for this season, I definitely learned that I have, for me, I have to listen a lot more than I talk. Leadership isn't about, thank you, Jacqueline, about dictation. It's not about dictating. Um, really great leaders listen. They shut the fuck up and you listen. You listen to what's needed. You listen to what's happening, and then sometimes there are um, undertones, or there are, like, the waves don't aren't always on the surface. There's an underpool that happens that you're not listening to, um, and that's when you truly know what it is that your surrounding individuals or people or the space that you're in actually needs. And I've noticed a lot of great leaders say nothing at all in the space that they're in. They leave, they make the work happen, and they come back. The work that they did benefits the people in the room that they were just in. And I've seen that time and time again. My mentor has done that. And I was like, holy shit. Okay.
Mm.
So I wanted to say that, but ladies, I do want to hear what you ladies have to say about leadership.
I think that's what I saw from you in having us as co-hosts. So the power of delegating, right? So, your Latina Leadership Podcast was now demanding more time, and you learned that, and you ended up delegating, hey, I need co-hosts because X, Y, and Z needs to be met. So I think that I noticed that in leadership, in the conversations we had with everyone, that was something that they all had also. So once their businesses got bigger, or for instance, Stephanie, with having the restaurant and being a chef, like, she has a team that support her. So that's one thing. And then in that also goes self-care, right? So if you're the leader, you're gonna burn out eventually with certain things. So to be a good leader, you also have to have your your health or your self-care as one of your priorities. So I think those are two things that I learned: the delegating, and then the self-care part. And especially since we talked about mental health and all that good stuff. But those two things, I think, are some things that I noticed across the board with the people that we had conversations with.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Ladies?
I think for me, some of the what I learned on leadership from all you ladies actually is, that it's okay to be in this space. It may not be your comfort zone, but to not be afraid to be in your space. And I learned that from several guests too, hearing their stories and how they started, and not being afraid, to build on your business. Like Angelica is building an empire. She's building something meaningful, something that matters, something that should be heard. Case in point, the luncheon we had, putting mental health at the forefront. Who does that? That's a leader who recognizes that that's a topic that needs to be talked about, not only for the community, but Angelica realizes that for all of us. I feel like she genuinely cares about how we're doing. And that is not a quality that is found in many leaders. I can count on one hand how many supervisors I can actually say they cared about their employees, like mental health, their families. And it's sad, but it's refreshing to know that after you've been through a road with so many supervisors that don't understand, to come across one who does and actually does something about it and puts together a luncheon to help not only the people she's surrounded with, but the community, and find solutions and find answers. And I think that's a wonderful sign of a leader that I'm really proud to be, under. I'm really proud of all you ladies. I'm really proud of Angelica and the work that she does, and to be here, holding on to your tailcoat and coming along for the ride is wonderful, to be able to be part of something so meaningful. And then, not being afraid, to go for your own goals. I think my recent conversation I had with Julia Morales, she's this wonderful Latina, probably one of the few that's out there that works for the MLB reporting, for MLB team, but she's also an entrepreneur. She wasn't afraid to she has this big job, but she's also jumped into the entrepreneurial world and started her own line of clothes. And it's like, that's inspiring in itself. And she recently became a mom. And I think it just shows that we can do it all, but you have to take care of yourself too. That's very important. But to not be afraid to like go for your projects that you're passionate about and put them out there, share them with the world. And I feel like that's what we're doing here with Angelica, with the podcast, trying to help others and bring important topics to the forefront.
Thank you, Sonia. I appreciate that. Every time, I don't know if y'all notice, every time I get like any kind of, I always want to, I like right now, I want to go and like hide underneath my coffee table. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that I'm just like, melt. I mean, I do. I take it. I take it with stride. Thank you. I need to learn how to shut the fuck up and say thank you. Jesus, really good.
I always tell my husband, because he's a little bit like that. I'm like, dude, just take the compliment, okay? You don't have to say anything. You have to, I'll be like, I told him the other day, you're a really good son. Like, you're really good to your parents. You're a good son. And he's like, you're damn right I am. I'm like, take the compliment, dude.
That's funny.
Just shut up.
That's
Take
funny.
the compliment.
Diana, your feedback?
Well, what I love about our podcast is that we're highlighting stories of Latinas that are making a difference wherever they're at. And Jacqueline, you mentioned something earlier, like leadership can be in different aspects of your life. It can be like you as a mother, you as a career person, you as like so on and so forth, you as a partner, you as a daughter, as a mother, right? Like so on. And all the stories that we've heard, like they're Latinas making a difference exactly where they are. And I grew up thinking that you had to be in a very specific role in a very specific field to make a difference for yourself and for your community. And obviously, like I grew up and I realized like that's not true, right? Like that's not a thing. But listening to all these stories and getting to work with each one of you, I think has kind of like emboldened that, like that you can be wherever you are, but you're making a difference because you are who you are and you are where you're at.
Nice, nicely said. Ladies, what I don't want to do is elong this conversation too much. But where I do want to bring it back to, I think what Sonia hinted at was I want to bring it back to the conversation. Actually, she's on the side of me. What I feel like the Brady Bunch here. What I do want to bring it back to is the mental health space that we brought it to. That day was the day of my pivotal turning point in my career. The fact that you ladies came onto the podcast made that day possible. All I wanted to do since we started this whole influencing journey, casi 12 años, almost 12 years ago when we first started with Juan's blog, right? We were on Twitter. I suck at writing, so I never got a Twitter 10 years ago. Instagram started and I was like, I'm here. But that conversation, I've always wanted to have it because without wanting to, there was always a disparity because of my mental health, I didn't have the same opportunities. And that during that day, it was just amazing. It was amazing that the fact that you ladies came on, accepted the invite to be part of this, allowed that to happen. So with that being said, thank you, ladies. One of the things that I did want to do is I wanted to talk about that date because no matter how amazing it was, no matter how great conversations, ladies, it was a shit show from the back end because I can laugh about it now, but I was
it wasn't.
Shit. No, in the forefront, the conversation were perfect. The moderator, I mean, Haley was amazing. The ladies who came on were amazing. Selena was amazing. The food was good. The setup was nice. All of that was good. But the back end, I was like, I was like, it's a good thing a lot of the what people saw was good. There was a
Mm.
moment that Juan was like where I completely forgot to spray like, the Latina Leadership This Way sign to post it on the thing. And Juan was like, spray paint it, spray it, like glue it on. And then he said that he went to go, somebody was spraying it on, and that Jacqueline was like, not by the food, go away. And they had like little things like that were happening everywhere. And I was like, and then I heard about the macaroons. The macaroons were really good, right?
They were so good.
They were good, but I heard about the macaroons, right? Because you
They're
ladies
good.
know that I do have OCD, and one of my things is visual. They're my senses. I can't help this sometimes, and sometimes I get really specific and really fucking picky. But the macaroons, and Juan was like, that Carolina, that you and Marianne were standing around the macaroons, like, what the fuck do we do?
Well, yeah, because I was thinking about, your OCD, and because
Yeah.
obviously I'm married to someone that has OCD as well. So I was like, oh my God, does Angelica want like all the colors, like
Color
all the
coordinated.
greens with the greens, all the orange with the orange? Like, do I make it a line? Do I make it like a rainbow? Do I mix them all up? And then Marianne's like, ay Dios, you know how Angelica is. I don't know either. I'm like, you know what? We just got to do it. Just do it. And
I
if she
heard.
doesn't like it, she'll
You're
let us
like,
know later.
I turned around because I was gone because I had to go get ready because I didn't allow for time. I'm just such a dork. I was like, no, it's gonna be fine. I was like, apparently I got hippie that day. I was like, it's cool. We're gonna go with the flow. Al pinche flow, Angelica, you need fucking time, dude. Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Lessons learned.
Lessons learned, dude. And so
Lessons
my
learned. Yeah.
idea and everything was like, when I left everything halfway. And I was like, fuck. I was like, well, I really want to prepare for the conversation. So here it is. It is what it is. I can't complain. I'm gonna have to swallow my endeavors of like, this was and and that on the last minute we hit Diana at the last minute with like, hey, let's go live. And Diana was like, what? Yeah, let's take the conversation live. We didn't know we didn't take into account the password, the Wi-Fi,
The
rock,
Wi-Fi. Oh my God, the freaking Wi-Fi.
the Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi. It's a collaborative space. We didn't have access to Wi-Fi.
There
I
were
was like,
like 30 networks. I'm like, which one? We have the
Wow.
password ready to go. What's
Yeah.
the network? Juan's like, I don't know. Oh my God.
yeah, we didn't know. We didn't know. We didn't know. So we got on Juan's phone, and Diana, what happened when Juan got on his phone?
Okay, somebody was blowing up that man's cell phone. I was like, please put it on do not disturb. It kept
was.
going like blacked out on my end. I was like, I don't know what's happening over there.
I know, poor Deanna. I just saw all your messages coming through. It's
did.
blacked out. Okay, we're back again. It's blacked out. Okay, we're back again.
You only
No,
see
like,
half
hold on, hold on. I'm gonna tell one. One. You
That's
can't
what I
see.
saw.
Move the camera. It's like
So it was fast paced. When events happen, they go fast and they fast pace. So whatever gets dropped, whatever happens, happens. And one of them was that. So Juan, we actually had to work that day. We had other people working another event. Luckily for us, it was just a photographer and a videographer out there. But the person who was putting the event together kept blowing up Juan's phone. Like, hey, where are you? And he's like, I told you I was gonna be there at 1. He's like, oh, I thought you said 11. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, okay. We're all over the place. But there was a moment where I was like, everything was, and then, like I said, it goes fast paced. And I know, Sonia, you're like, Angelica, I don't know what you're doing. But there was like conversation. I was like, and one of the things that I tell you ladies, I was like, when these things happen, when events and days like this happen, don't wait. I was like, the Latina Leadership Podcast, you ladies, as part of the co-host, I want you to understand, we don't wait. And not for any other reason, but because we have to continue the conversation. We have always waited for everyone. And one of the things that I want to input to the leadership podcast and to the Latina leadership and to everybody, we do not wait. We move forward. We do our best. We continue. And that's with everybody who's on here. So with like Sonia, you're like, oh, I'm waiting for her to interview her. And I was like, no, Sonia, we don't wait. I was like, she's having a conversation. We have to move. We have to continue moving. I was like, I think it was like, grab Yvonne, grab Yvonne. Well, what's her name came back and she was like, hey, I was having a conversation. I was like, yeah, I know. Like all of that is okay. And we try to be polite and we try to be this and we try to be that. And we try to be just like really good, like host. You know what I'm saying? We want to be really good host. We really do. But we never sit in that space of like, I need to take up space. I need to move. And that was one of the things. It was nothing wrong with that. There was absolutely nothing wrong with waiting them. But I was like, we have people for a certain amount of time. Let's grab them. Let's do what we need to do while we're in the space. And that's one of the things that I've learned from this season is just that ladies, we have to keep going. This can't stop. This shouldn't stop. It shouldn't stop with me. Um, if I, like, as I said, if I ever leave as a host, it shouldn't stop with me. If you ladies ever step away, it shouldn't stop with each one of you ladies. But the skills and all that momentum, that movement that we have continues and it should continue. Um, because I learned we can't keep holding on for somebody to build a space for us. If we have momentum and we're building our space, we have to continue building that space. So I, for me, it was just that. It was just that. And I think that lunch and learn taught me that. I was like, yeah, this we're going in the right direction, I believe. Um anything else you ladies want to like input of that day, or perhaps or anything else?
I'm ready for the next one.
You're right.
Yeah, me too.
No, they're gonna happen. They're gonna happen. This year it's gonna be we're okay, look, we're all taking time off for the summer from interviews, just for a little bit, just so we can like take a breather, right? Because it comes on strong. It comes on it comes on like a lot, you know what I'm saying? It can be a lot, and just setting up those interviews and writing the copy and sending it to the editor and make sure we got the social things here, things there. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a lot from the other end of things, and I know it is. So we're going to take a breather, everybody's going to take a deep breath, and then we're going to come back in. I like to say that we like to surface and then we drop down again, right? It's like the divers. You come up for air to
Mhm.
like recoup your body, and then you come back down because the hard work still needs to be done. And not that I'm expecting the hard work for you ladies to do the hard work. I just, whenever you want to join me to continue the work that the podcast has contributed to that space. Ladies, I want to hear some final thoughts.
Final thoughts is just keep believing in your product. Keep believing in what you're doing, because that's how it grows. That's how the podcast will grow. That's how people will see everything that we're doing, and notice. Not that they don't notice now, but even notice that we are here even more. We're here, we're taking up space. There's plenty of room for all of us at the table. Nobody should be trying to say, oh, well, you don't belong in this space. Oh no, my podcast does this. Who cares? We each have our own niche. There's plenty of space for everybody out there to succeed. And the only way to do that is just to keep elevating each other, and supporting all Latinas, all Latinos, because that's the only way that we're gonna let everybody know that we're here, that we belong. Our stories need to be told, because one thing that just frustrates me so much, and I can't do anything about that. I can't make our stories magically appear on screen, but maybe this is a way that we can share our stories on a smaller platform and get people to see, there's topics like mental health, make noise, have a luncheon like we did, put it out there. Okay, what's next? What's the next thing we can do to make the community aware, and just keep doing what we're doing, and showing, people that we're leaders in our own field, who we don't care, what you think, you know, it's we belong. We belong in this space, and we're not going anywhere, and we're gonna keep doing what we're doing to bring our community together and elevate our community. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know. That was a
No, the
good question.
journalist out of you came out. Yeah, we heard it.
Oh yeah. Sonia always knows what to say.
I think my final thoughts is of gratitude for all of the learning, and honestly for each one of you, like de cada uno aprendo algo. So thank y'all for just kind of I don't know, for being here and being you. And gratitude just for this podcast and all the folks that listen to us and all the amazing women that join in on the conversations with us.
I think I feel the same way, like I'm grateful to have been asked to be on the podcast, to be a host. And um, it's like, it's been such a learning journey for me, just like also coming out of my own shell as an introvert and talking to people, and even just like with like self-confidence, having self-confidence to like put myself out there and not be afraid, um, to have like my face like in the public realm, because I'm still getting used to that, like having people hear my opinion or my take on things can be scary, like if you're not used to um being like, if you're not used to speaking up like in public spaces. It's like, oh man, now everyone's gonna know what I think, and that's a little bit like nerve-wracking. So yeah, I think it's been like really good for me to like step into this space. Yeah.
And I want to tag along too with the gratitude. Um, Again, Angelica, you seeing skills in us that you thought were useful for this platform. Again, I would have never thought to say, hey, I'm going to do a podcast. Like that was not in my list of things to do in lifetime. So I guess, yeah, gratitude with that one, you seeing things in us that we didn't see. And then I'm just excited. I'm ready to meet more women. And I know our niche is, Latinas, but just across the board, just women that are doing things that, people doubt or don't hear about, and just giving them our time and space to share that. I'm just excited. Yeah, I'm ready for season 2.
Nice. Season 2 of the co-host, which is season 7 of the podcast.
Well, that's what. Yeah, that's what
Season 2 with the co-host, but
season 2 for me.
Absolutely. I think one of the things, my final thoughts for me is that I've learned that, yes, Sonia, to piggyback up on what you said, with everybody gets a seat at the table, but not only that, we all eat. Everybody eats. Because we all consume. So I don't know sometimes it's different for everybody. People come starving, right? Some people come not hungry. Some people just come to nibble, but we all eat. Everybody. And I hope that concept is drawn throughout all the spaces. I tell everybody every time I do an event in person, there has to be food, because we all eat. And I hope that we continue to consume. I hope that we continue to do what we do best, is serve our community and consume while we're at it, and taking care of ourselves too. So with that, ladies, thank you so much for watching this season of the Latina Leadership Podcast. And with that, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. What did you think of the conversation? If you enjoyed what you heard, let us know in the comments. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thank you for listening to the Latina Leadership Podcast, and we will see you next time.